Hello and welcome to my cake kitchen. My name is Gladys and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. I also create baking tutorials live, bringing you along the baking journey where we identify a particular objective and then bake through to the end. Sometimes I talk through ingredient listing, the purpose of our bake, and also hand you tips to help you navigate cake baking, decorating, and all things cake in the hopes that when you undertake your own baking at home, you can do so with all the confidence you need. Today is nothing special. It's been exactly a week since I was last here doing a baking marathon. That series is up on the channel. On the live sessions, you want to check that out. We baked a ton of cupcakes. I've spent the rest of the week trying to recuperate from that intense task. But today I am just attempting to make a Smores brownie from a box mix. So I'll be employing some of the online tips to upgrade a box mix into a decadent brownie that one can have, a small one. I've never baked that before, so I thought I'll bring you along the journey so you can get to see what goes on into all of that. But before that, I have an emergency cupcake to go out to a customer, which is a dozen and a half 18 cupcakes. So I thought I might as well just incorporate that in the session so that we can bake the cupcakes. If you haven't seen any of my cupcakes videos before, you will get to see the tips that will help you undertake a cupcake bake, giving you a good bake, and will be topped off with some buttercream, after which it will be boxed up and sent off. Between the cupcakes, we'll be transitioning to the s'mores, which is our main objective for today. So if you see me for the first time, hello and welcome. And if you're already in my stream or have been here before, hello there and welcome. We have a few people. I will acknowledge Delaney, who is our moderator in time right now, but there is few people also, Amanda, who is occasionally on the live. So if you do see those moderators in the session trying to keep you engaged and interactive, you want to send them my love. And if you're already in the chat, hello there. It's a pleasure to have you. I always appreciate you being here with me because I don't announce my lives, and when I do, and just at the start I have an influx of people trying to engage with me, there's nothing better that warms my heart than that. And I hope by the end of this video you will have some tips to take along with you that can help you achieve some good bakes in your home kitchen. So I'm going to look at who is in the live and pass my regards, and we can jump straight into baking, because by the time this mixer starts making noise, it is going to be hard to interact. But between the mixer, I think I have a feeling last week when I undertook the bake, there was a long session of bakes, and I think I had a problem with this mixer sounding a bit off. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm very concerned about this mixer. I've had it for a little, is it over 3 years now? I've done an in-depth tutorial about it. Maybe this is the time that this mixer is going to give up on me on a live session. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. I hope that's not the case, but if it does, well, I have insured it against any ultimate damage or anything, so we'll see about that. So let's get into the chat, see who is there, and we'll say hello. And whilst we're at it, a quick reminder that we are nearing 5K. I cannot believe 5,000 of you people like in a room, or like all in the same place. Online it can almost seem so distant, but behind all you 5,000 people is a group of people who have intentionally made a choice to support me, to engage with me, to pass me words of encouragement, and to stay on the lives with me. So I just want to say I appreciate you, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell to be notified of videos such as these and more. And also do not forget to share this video, because the lives are packed with tips that are actually live for you to see. And occasionally we do see the baking science go left on us. We're here, we're loud and proud about our mistakes, because the intention here is to ensure that you get the best out of the bakes, whatever the intention. So I have my son, who can sometimes be a little distracting, but that is just by the way. So let's see who is in the live here. There is David. David, hi David. There's Bless Garcia. Bless, Hi there. Yeah, the mixer, it's a lovely one, even if I do say so myself. There are a few, Ashley. Ashley, thank you. There are a few ones, Evelyn, Khalid. Yeah, there are a few one of you in the chat and some names that I can't seem to pronounce very much, but I just want all of you to know that I appreciate you being here and taking time to stop by with me. Delaney will keep you engaged over there. In the meantime, let's jump straight into baking. At the moment, the oven is at 160 degrees C. Let's have a look. Yeah, 160 degrees C. And before we do anything, I'm gonna just plug this in before we undertake. And there is Vini. Is it Vini? Khalid, I am Ghanaian. I come from Ghana. If you've heard the name Ghana, it's a West African country. And I've lived in the UK over 10 years plus now. So, yeah. I hope that answers your question over there. There's someone over there asking me about where I'm from and my accent. Right, we have some margarine. I'm using Flora margarine over here. You can replace the same quantity of margarine. You can replace the same quantity of margarine with butter, salted or unsalted. And you can actually split the margarine over here by doing half and half, so half of oil or 2 parts of the quantity, and split it into 3. So I think I have 425, so you can do 125 grams of vegetable oil, which will be added later if you chose to, and then 300 grams of vegetable oil. The recipe is quite adaptable. The hope is that we can get a very tender, light textured bake with an even crumb, and also that has bakes evenly without like serious bends and crust on the side. So we're just looking for a light textured, fluffy cupcake. We've achieved much of those here on many of the bakes we've undertaken, but sometimes baking can be slightly unpredictable. So until we get the result, we don't know it. But I hope as you come along, you'll get to see what methods I employ to achieve the results I am aiming for. So in the mixer is caster sugar, some margarine, and vanilla. You didn't see me measure the vanilla, and that's by intention, because over here the more vanilla in a cake recipe, the better. Just as you can have sweet chili sauce with your chicken, vanilla is the cake just as sweet chili to chicken. You can't have enough. So I've just put that in, and I am going to be creaming this for maybe 4 to 5 minutes, but even less. Perhaps I'll go up to 3 minutes. The reason being, if you've been here before, I have talked about a recipe, the recipe details, and also mastering the specific techniques that will help you get great results. You can have a recipe, but if the recipe lacks the details and fine nuances of the techniques that is employed to achieve a bake, you can awfully get to some results that are least favorable for you. So when I've talked about the techniques, I've been intentional about handing you times that you have to observe, visual cues that one has to look out for, and things that one has to really be engaged with throughout the process to get the best out of the bake. And I've also talked about how the weather affects some of the ingredients. You will generally hear about room temperature ingredients and ingredients being at the right consistency for use. Essentially, that will help you achieve a good result from your bake. But weather does impact some of your ingredients, such as your butter and oils, differently, such that with solid fats such as your margarine over here, if it is too hot, it can be difficult to get the right consistency if you're not keeping your eye on it, because as you cream the mixture, creating air pockets with the sugar crystals digging into the fat, what you want to do is that you want to ensure that your fats your fat, solid fat maintains a certain structure that can keep the air pockets, and then combined with the technique and essentially your heat in the oven, you get a good rise to your cake. But if you have the weather which can adversely affect the batter by melting it way over the solidness that one requires to maintain some air pocket, it can be difficult. So if you're not careful, you'll end up with melted batter that cannot hold air pockets properly. So by that, in many times in these tutorials, I've talked about how weather can affect these things and how you can make time adjustments to ensure that you don't overcream your butter or the weather doesn't affect your results adversely. So today it's very hot. In fact, it's been hot all week. We've had about 28, 29 degree weather in the UK here. Some of the short moments in time when the weather is hot in the UK. So today it's slightly hot, and even though I sorted out the ingredient less than an hour or two ago, I can almost feel my butter is really soft and I have to get to it, which means that the normal recommended time of creaming, which is between 4 to 6 minutes, I probably have to keep an eye and make sure that I don't hit that time, because by then we might probably risk melting our margarine altogether. But that's just a bit of information for you to kind of have some context to how butter and the weather interact with each other and how that can ultimately affect results for you. So I'm gonna cream this for, let's start with 3 minutes, and that will be on medium high on this mixer that is between 3.5 to 4. Speed 3.5 to 4 here. So I'm going to start creaming that, and then I'll interact with you in the chat, and then we'll be back to see if it's time to add any of the other ingredients. All right, so I did say that my mixer is a bit off. I can almost hear a sound in it that is not great. So hopefully we don't break it on this session, and then after that I might have to contact AO.com to have a look at this. And also talking about how the heat affects the fat. Look, in the past, if you've seen any of my videos, in the past we've almost creamed this for, like I said, 4 to 6 minutes time mark. Look, I've barely turned the mixer on, and look at what we have. The fat is melted and that. So today I am not having the best time, but it's probably great that I have 2 mixers, because when we switch on to the Smores, we're probably going to switch to using the Kenwood XL. But I probably should call the maintenance people to come and have a look at this, because the sound isn't great. But so I'm going to cream that again for another, it's 25, so we'll give it another 2 minutes. Yeah. Khalid says he can watch me all day. Khalid, thank you very much. But I hope above watching me, you will be able to get some value out of these videos. If you've been here before, you can tell that the sound of this mixer is a little bit off. And so whilst we're at it, right, so because there's something wrong with my mixer, but ignore that. Whatever, however this gets solved, I'll come back and tell you, because I've been so invested in this mixer. I've spoken a ton about the mixer itself in the comprehensive tutorial I did covering it in as a review, and in many of my videos I have recommended this mixer. It's not a sponsored video, by the way. I bought this with my own money, but the experience of using this mixer has been so great. I just wanted to share that. But now having problems with it in real time means I owe you some information about how this gets fixed. The good thing is that, like I said, when I bought it, I also bought an insurance cover from AO.com to cover it. I think I paid £4.49, about rounded to £5 a month for maintenance and also replacements, just in case something happens. So I'm probably going to take advantage of that and then give them a call. But hopefully we can get through this bake with no problems. Now I can see maybe a few minutes in, and our margarine is mixed, creamed well here. So I'm just going to add, it's not a very fussy bake at all. It's a simple vanilla cupcake. Well, seems like Delaney is having an awesome Saturday that she is sharing with us. I am excited about that for you, Delaney. You go, girl. Delaney is having such an awesome Saturday. Right, whilst we're at it, as you can see Delaney say in the chat, if we are nearing 5K, and that's something I normally won't care about. But I also recognize there's a community of you who are more excited than I am to celebrate this. I have a few ideas. We started with a general Q&A. So I'll be putting a poster up in the community chat page, the community post, so that you can put your questions underneath. And then on the day when we hit the 5K, we'll come on a live and do the Q&A. But I'm also thinking, my very excited self thinks, we're not, I don't know, will it be a good idea to bake on the day? Because I thought we might as well cook some jollof rice, but jollof rice takes forever to cook though. So I don't know if that's like even a good thing. But we're going to get dressed up. Well, I am going to get dressed up and show up in my party looking self. And talking about party looking self, after my baking marathon last week, all of the videos linked in the description box for you. I ended up, well, I was supposed to be emceeing a party, which I did. But it also meant that undertaking the live session of nearly a 9-hour bake session live, which was a baking marathon, I didn't see sleep until I went and hosted the event. So it was a great party, but I've spent the week recovering from that. So all of you who were here supporting me over here last week, thank you. I really, really appreciate all of you for the support you gave me. It kept me going, but gosh, that was a lot. Okay, so despite my mixer problems and this weather affecting these things adversely, I think we are doing okay. So I've just turned the mixer down to a full function, and I'm going to add some flour here. The flour here, this recipe actually is a layered cake recipe which utilizes self-raising flour. But for this, for the cupcake, it is 2/3 of the flour in plain flour, and then a third being self-raising flour. Now this is buttermilk that I've added to increase moisture. So I was talking about the flour. There's a total of 430 grams of flour here, and only 130 of that is self-raising flour. That is what has given me my best results. So I thought it's important to share that with you. Okay, right. So we've done that, and I'm just going to scrape the sides, and I think our butter is done. It's a fairly easy batter to undertake, and thankfully we haven't had any problems with our mixer. But I will be careful not to have whipped anything with our mixer over here. Right. Am I the only one who gets iffy about butter? Because I really want to get all the butter out. But today I really don't want to. I don't want to have butter on my hands today. Some days I've washed my hands quickly, but it requires going back and forth, which I don't want to do today. But if you're in the chat, hey, hello there again, and I hope you are having a great time this Saturday. The weather over here in the UK is a little bit warm. Right, so just moving this out of the way. Right. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way too. Our butter is done now, and here is what we've got. I'm gonna mix that together so it stays together homogeneously, and then we're going to distribute that in our cupcake tins. Yeah, okay, our cupcake tins are here, they're all lined. over here, to stop the butter sticking to the scoop, I dip it in warm water, which is what is stood here on the side. So we'll see. We fill the cups up to 2/3 of the way up, just to give it room to rise as well. And when baking, in the past, when I've baked, I've put some water in the oven to serve as a cooling mechanism, to cool the oven whilst the cupcakes are baking, so that your bake bakes evenly, tenderly, without having to bake vigorously, which will cause bends and crusting on the sides. But in more recent times, through consistent baking and observing, I've also realized that you can achieve similar results, if not the same, from baking at a low temperature. I normally used to bake at about 160, but you can go to 150 degrees C and let things bake slow for longer. So if I bake at 160, it's for 18 to 20 minutes. But if I reduce it to 145, 150, it goes up to 25 minutes to 28 minutes. But I still get same results. So that is something to consider if you want a lightly textured, evenly baked cupcake. And in the flour too, I had a pinch of salt to taste. So if you want to know more about that, I'll leave information in the description box for you. Yeah, Delaney is sharing how much she enjoyed the baking marathon. Yeah, it was such a fun day, but it was really exhausting. I ended up just surviving on the adrenaline of just being here with you guys. But gosh, did I not pay for that? I did pay for that eventually, because I've spent all week trying to recuperate. I haven't done any baking. I've actually made cakes, because I have had a cake go out on Tuesday, and on the Sunday I had to catch up on all the aftermath of my baking through Friday and Saturday to go into the event. So it has been a busy week through till Wednesday. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I decided to be a Mrs. Doolittle. I haven't done much. I have still been productive in very small ways, but I've slept a lot of the time. So yeah, and then catching up with Delaney on the chats and stuff like that. So yeah, my Saturday is not much though, because it's still hot. I really didn't want to undertake baking today, but it's also fun to be here with you guys. So I appreciate where are you chatting from? And if you're in the replay crew, if you come back and watch this on replay, hello there. And I hope you're having a great time. There's a little bit of butter here. I'm not going to bother with it so much. If you've been here, you will know that I get really fussy about butter and leftover and stuff like that. But we just need to get these over with so that we can move on to our actual bake. So I'm going to leave that on the side, and then we're going to put our cupcake here in the oven. Just after the morning, when I'm done with mama duties, when the boy goes to school and all of that. But he finishes school before 4 p.m. So I have to start when he's gone and be done before he comes back, so that I can reclaim my evening to other duties, which is why my lives are kind of in that kind of time slot. But there's always good reason for you to come back and catch up in the replays. Okay, so don't you worry. I'm gonna put that in the oven, and then I can catch up with you before we move on to making some Smores brownies. Okay. Right, so our cupcakes have gone in, and we're baking these for about 20 to 22 minutes over there. So whilst our cake is baking, we are going to attempt to do the um, Smores brownie mix. Right. Interestingly, I am using a brownie box mix from here. It is the oh, I'll put the information in the description box. And that is because it's nearly the end of school year. My son's school teachers deserve a little bit of a treat. So I am baking this so that it can set and then I can organize them as part of a collection of thank you treats for the school. So that is what we are doing. But to start with, I'm just thinking to myself out loud, what do we do? Because the cupcakes are going to take about 20 minutes in there. Perhaps let's start with the brownie mix. But so whilst our cupcake is baking, we are going to be undertaking the S'mores brownies. And if you don't know what S'mores brownies are, they're like a type of brownie that has a crackers, or here we'll say biscuits, cookies, not the American type of biscuits, but let's say in the American recipes I've seen, it's made up of a graham cracker mixed base in the bottom, a layer of say chocolate brownie or a chocolate cake of some sort, and then the top is finished off with some marshmallow meringue finish that is torched, and it's lovely. And most people who have tasted it in my research material, I find that it's an amazing recipe to have and to eat. I haven't tried that before, so perhaps I thought it would be a good thing to bring you along, but I couldn't source the graham cracker base. So what I did was I just used digestive biscuits, which is digestive sort of cookies, you would call it. The digestive biscuits here, which I have crushed in a food processor, mixed that up with some melted butter, and then put that in the base, which I have pressed into and then left to sit in the fridge. So it's set in the base here. So I'm going to leave that in the fridge here because it's so hot today. If I left that, it will come back to room temperature and then it will get all crumbly when I come to wanting to use it. So I'll let that sit in there whilst we start with our other ingredients. And obviously in the box mix, there are a few ingredients that you have to add to your box mix to derive the brownie, which includes some water, some eggs, and oil, right? In my research on how to upgrade a box mix to make it better tasting and flavorful, you can substitute some ingredients for others. So for the oil, you can swap that for melted butter, which I have done. But the butter was so hot, I left that in the fridge. Let's get that. Oh, it hasn't gone to sleep on me. Butter's gone to sleep on me. So it's called for melted butter, and I have left the butter to sit in the fridge, and it's now sort of semi-solid. So I'm going to put that in the microwave and then let it come back to runny consistency, which is what we need for our brownie batter here. The butter is melting in the microwave. Another thing I find is going to be a thing I have to solve is coffee. The water, where it calls for water, you can replace it with dark coffee. So I've just made some coffee here, same quantity. So I'll leave notes about all of this in the description box so that you can follow and derive the best results out of this too. But it calls for warm coffee, except I made the coffee and let it sit. So now it's cool, and I have to put that back in the microwave too so that it warms up. So I'm going to go check on the batter before. We've got our batter here. I was tempted to make, what do you call it, brown butter out of it. But then I thought, since this is my first time, let me just stick with what the recommendations are. But you can't also negate the properties and flavor that brown butter brings to brownies and baked goods like cookies and cakes and all of that. It's really lovely, and I think I have completed recipes on here that utilizes brown butter. Okay, the consistency and warmth over there is helpful. And also for every egg that you're required to use over there, you can add egg yolks. So this is a mixture of both egg and egg yolks. And like I said, I will leave information in the description box for you to. We have a hand mixer here. So for the quantity here, I could use a hand mixer, and equally I could use a stand mixer, but I have reserved the stand mixer right here. My other one, as you can see from the earlier bake, is a little bit sketchy, so I intend to use it a little less so I don't have crisis of baking over here. But I've already gone ahead and cleaned this out with vinegar so that it is ready for use when we come to making the meringue. So my only other option is to employ the hand mixer here. And whilst we're doing that, Vicky is saying, Vicky is in the chat with us, and Vicky wants to undertake more baking, you know, so a little bit of encouragement for Vicky over there will help. Vicky, don't you worry, you know, take your time, but get to it. What I am doing is trying to get the egg yolk and butter mix over here. Right. Yeah, Vicky, don't you worry. Take your time, but do get to it, because sometimes just putting it off, you make an excuse of it, and before you see, you don't do what you really want to do. So I'll encourage you to get to it when you can, but you know what? Don't be too hard on yourself. I'm just adding the brownie mix in here. I will put the portions and quantities all plus the brand. I can't seem to mention it. It's an Italian brand that has a G sort of name. I might be weird for not knowing. So I'll leave that in the description box. And I also, just to give it a bit of texture and crunch, I threw in some Oreo cookies that I had, just to give the brownie texture and crunch. So yeah, that is something I have added on here. And how do you like your brownie? Do you like your brownie cakey or dense? And let's see. Right. So do you like your brownie cakey or a little dense? Cakey just means it's a bit lighter than you would expect, or do you want it dense and super moist? None of either doesn't concern me. Oh, I think it also requires adding some vanilla. And over here, okay, there goes the vanilla. Lots of it, isn't it? Just so that it brings Delaney has a lot of things to do that she hadn't done, and she's finding out in real time she has to time manage. Delaney, it's all right if you have to go. If you have to go, darling, it's okay. We have some coffee here. Delaney, it's okay if you have to go, my lovely. Okay. Right. Right, we've got our butter sorted. I like it. I like the taste of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to wipe the place over. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, so we've got that sorted. Oh, right. Delaney stayed up late, so Delaney has some work to do and some commitments. Delaney, why am I talking about Delaney? She's our moderator here, so. In the meantime, we've gotten our cookie base, right? And we are going to get this all over here. I think some advise that you add some more chocolate chips or chocolate pieces. I just didn't bother with that because I just threw in the Oreo chunks and Oreo pieces just to add a bit of crunch to it. So there we have it over here. And our cupcakes are still baking, so let's check. And yeah, we have a little over 5 minutes to go, so we'll leave this to sit here whilst we wait for that. But we have a few things to achieve as we go on. So before I do that, I'm just going to leave that here. The cupcakes will come out, and in the meantime we're going to turn the stove on so that we can start the meringue process, because the meringue is going to be the longest part of all of this really. For the meringue over here, we have a saucepan of water and egg whites and sugar in here. This is more like undertaking the same recipe I use for my Swiss meringue buttercream, except we're not going to be adding butter to this. To start with the Smores, we did the cookie or cracker base, and we've just put on top. And now we are waiting to get the meringue base. And I found myself a new toy that will help with the marshmallow or meringue topping and that. Okay, this I have a whole story to tell about it, but yeah, I'm pleased to have it. It's it's a bit of a fire hazard in the kitchen, but I am so excited to have it. I feel like a superhero who's willing to whiz everybody off with a bit of a torch. But that is my small excitement with a little kitchen torch that I have. Delaney, okay, I'm glad you'll be okay for now, okay? But darling, do not feel bad you have to go, because I know you do have other commitments. So I really appreciate when you are here, okay? Our cupcakes are still baking, so if you see me crouch down there, I am looking at the cupcakes and making sure that we get the best out of those. So we have another 10 minutes for the cupcakes to finish, and then we'll see. So yeah, if you, of course, we're not making Swiss meringue buttercream, but I'm using Swiss meringue on top of the Smores when we get to bake it. And actually, what you're looking for is to make sure that when you start with trying to warm up the egg white, it starts being so viscous and there's tension with when you are even trying to stir it through. But a visual cue is that over time, when it gets warmed up and the sugar melts and then it becomes very syrupy, it will be very light and it will fall off the whisk easily. So those are stuff you have to look out for. But the sugar syrup obviously has to cook to a safe temperature where the bacteria is not present before you get to whip it. I'll leave all those details in the description box for you. So there is it Ali. Ali. Hi Ali. I can't seem to pronounce the first name and I don't want to botch it. So there's hi Ali and hi all of you in the chat. If you're saying a hello or hi or you pay me a compliment, thank you. It's kind of hard to almost keep looking into the chat whilst also trying to complete my tasks. So please bear with me. All right. Okay, I think our cupcakes are done, and if you can tell, there's mist on my face because I put some water in the base of the oven, which has led to some moisture in the oven. So I've just had a flow of mist on my face, but right, I just want to shift this here without causing a fire hazard. So that I can safely get the cupcakes out. We had a batch of 24 cupcakes. And there they are. So I'm going to put the brownie mix in there. And whilst it's in there, let's gauge the time. It's almost 10 past 2 p.m. So we're going to bake the brownie for another 40 minutes and then we'll see. In that 40 minutes, hopefully we should be able to finish with the meringue over here. But back onto the cupcakes. Here is the finished work on the cupcakes. So we have a lightly textured tender bake. They are all evenly done. And as you can see, they are fantastic as they appear. So normally I have a tradition here where I will just break one so that we can look at the crumb. Look, we have a lightly textured bake over here. I'm trying not to stuff my face in so much sugar today. so there we have it. You know, so that's a good cupcake to have. Just a close-up of the crumb. It is very moist. It's lightly textured. So we're going to transfer the cupcakes onto a tray. But whilst we're doing that, we are multitasking. Just ensuring that we don't end up with scrambled eggs whilst our Swiss meringue sugar syrup is boiling. Yep. And that is our cupcakes done. So lightly textured, evenly baked, evenly risen, super moist, and tender cupcakes all done. I'll leave recipe details in the description box there for you. But whilst this come behind me, these make their way out of the scene. We're going to wipe our work board and then move this all the way back. Right, so the sugar syrup. Now, if you're wondering why I am using the water underneath, this is called the double boiler method, where steam is used in the cooking process instead of direct heat. if I were to put the eggs in on direct heat, we are more likely going to have scrambled eggs. So by using the steam from the water to boil or warm the container here, which is the glass bowl, it slowly cooks the egg to a safer temperature without boiling it vigorously, which may lead to scrambled eggs. So I think you can employ a sort of contraption or mechanism to do that, which is the bain marie. It's something that expert chefs use, but a simple homemade way of doing it is obviously cooking it in a heat-proof bowl over a saucepan of water, which can achieve you same results. Yes, Chantilly. Chantilly is talking about our cupcakes. Yes, a good tip. I mean, I pass the tips here now and again. So you can bake at a lower temperature. Not all cakes. I'm talking about this cupcake specifically because I have had interactions with bakers who have adopted some of the baking hacks that are passed without adhering to the context that is given. Say if you had a dense cake that is optimized for structure so that it bakes dense, if you apply, say, if you don't go according to the cooking cooking time recommendations or guidance that are associated with that recipe, and you just employ the generalized tip that, oh, when you bake slow, or when you cook at a low temperature, you get the best bake. You're going to end up having your cake be more dense because it takes a long cooking time, and then your moisture is affected, and then you get a horrid bake. And yet you're like, oh, but I cooked it slow. Okay. So I've had conversations with bakers who, time and again, have utilized those tips that have lacked context, and it's giving them wrong results. So I'm specifically stating that for this cupcake, I realized that you can bake it at 160 degrees C at exactly 18 to 20 minutes, and you can get great results. But I found that whilst you can get an even bake, it will be you get a lot of crusting on it, and the crusting can be a bit crispy, and it makes the cupcakes a little bit dry. Those are lessons I have learned along the way while still trying to observe and optimize for my best results, right? So over time, I try to mitigate the problem of the dryness and vigorous baking by introducing some water into the oven. So you put a bowl, a heat-proof bowl or a ramekin of water on the oven floor. And what that does is that as the oven warms up and moisture, which is water, evaporizes into your oven, it serves as a cooling mechanism that cools the warm heat but doesn't cool it enough that it becomes problematic, but it evens out your heat as well, allowing some moisture into the bakes, allowing for a tender and lightly textured bake other than the crispiness of the bake that results from not having water in there. So that is how in the past I have tried to achieve an even lightly textured bake to my cupcake. Now when I last did the baking marathon, you would find in those videos that whilst my oven is a home oven, it can take up to about 3 trays of cupcake tins, which is 36 cupcakes per batch. So to utilize, for me to be able to put water in the oven means that it's the oven floor which will take space. So because I couldn't afford that space, I ended up having to get rid of the water so I can still have 3 trays of cupcake tins in there. By so doing, what I did was I thought, let me reduce my heat down to 150 to reduce the vigorous cooking and dryness of the cupcake. And throughout the entire, I think I baked 3 batches of cupcakes, which is vanilla, chocolate, and red velvet. And by the end of that series, I found that baking slow could equally give you tender results, especially for this recipe, which is why today I reduced the temperature to 150, but I also introduced some water because I only had 2 trays of cupcakes. So I had the bottom base to add water, which has led to a more lighter textured bake here for me. So it hasn't overrisen, it hasn't overcooked, and I don't have burns on the sides because in the past I've also had problems with burns in the corners. So the cupcakes that are at the corner of the tins have ended up burning, and that is because my oven has hot spots. But by reducing the heat to 150 and also introducing water to cool the heat in the oven, I have got myself a very lightly textured bake. And even though, like, when we took it out I broke one, the texture of the cupcake, I'm careful so that I don't have a cupcake crumb fall in it full of oil. It will interfere with the meringue. So can you see what we have here? So yeah, those are some tips that you can utilize, but you can check the description box when the live is done for more details on that. Right, on the subject of cupcakes, I think Vicky in the chat is asking about cupcake liners and tins and what I would like. I don't like any silicone baking item, anything silicone for baking. I like them for molding stuff. So if say I wanted to mold chocolate bits, I'll use silicone molds because they're flexible. You can turn them. They are malleable as well. It's easy to handle them if you are using them to mold stuff. But for baking, they are terrible conductors of heat, so I don't. So if you're looking for cupcake cases or cupcake pans, I'll go for your recommended pans. Stainless steel or whatever material conducts heat better. But a good tip though is to consider getting a panel that is deeper, that can hold and mold your cupcake better. I have some different ones. I think at some point in time I'll come back and talk in depth about those, because when I started baking I really didn't know where I was headed, and I was just excited to buy any and everything that was recommended online for me. And I ended up buying some cupcake tins, 2 trays of those, and now I find they are not as deep as I would like them. So they do hold cupcakes for me, right? Considering I'm using the regular or muffin, regular size cupcake tins. I think these are labeled muffin size, but those are not to be confused with the jumbo muffin sized ones. So they hold the cupcake well. Let me see. Look, they hold it well, but they don't sit in properly until I put the butter in it. Whereas my other ones do actually hold and the cupcake well. But whilst we're talking about the cupcake, let me just move on quickly to sorting out this before I end up with scrambled eggs. Because if we did that, it means the whole session will be over. And we really don't want that. We want the session to be useful for us today. So I'm gonna leave that to the side. And now to get the best out of your meringue, you want to make sure all your utensils and anything that is going to come into contact with the meringue is grease free. Any grease that comes into contact with your meringue, it won't help it whip up properly, and you won't get the best formation out of it, because grease in the form of oil, fat, or egg yolks will interfere with the meringue formation. So hopefully I have done my best here, because I washed this mixer. This is my Kenwood XL, Kenwood Chef XL. And I just realized that my spatulas probably would have yeah, I might just have to take an L on this one and not use the spatula. Right, I can see there's a few new people in the chat. How are you all? Hi, Just B. You're all right, my darling. Okay. Now, over here, we know that this mixer is a little bit loud. So when it starts going, I may not be able to talk to you, but please bear with me in the chat and I'll get to you when this mixer slows down a little bit. Yeah? I'm going to turn this on to high, which is 4 to 4.5, because we need to whip some air into the meringue so that it forms for us. But between that, I'm also going to put in some cream of tartar, which is an acid that helps to stabilize the meringue, and also unstick egg white proteins here for me. I'll leave all information and quantities in the description box. Right, our meringue, we want to whip it till stiff peaks, and we are nearly there. I don't want to break the stiff peaks. If you're wondering what stiff peaks is, it's when you pick the meringue up and it forms a straight. Okay, that has fallen a little bit, so I'm just going to let it whip just for another few minutes, and I think that will be our meringue done. Because what we want to do is that when the brownie is out and set, we can spread the meringue on it and then torch it, have some chocolate sauce on it, and have ourselves a lovely brownie to eat. That's what I am expecting, but let's see how it goes. So whilst we're in the chat, all of you, the new people, and if you're watching this on replay, hello and welcome. There is Just Be, great to have you back. It's been a little while. I hope you are keeping well. Pardon my distraction, because when the mixer goes and it's very noisy, it can be difficult. But I know Delaney is in the chat keeping you all engaged. Vicky wanted a recipe. If you want a recipe to what I'm doing here, don't worry. I start the lives without that information, but trust and believe I'll go back and update all of that in the description box for you. So Vicky, this recipe is already on the the video, a few videos I have done before, but I'll update it specifically on this one so that you can get access to that. Okay. Is Delaney still here with us? Thank you, Vicky. Vicky, well, this is a Kenwood. I think I've been a Kenwood fan forever. So maybe it will be lovely one day when Kenwood decides to sponsor a video of ours. That would be exciting, and you would know I really do love a Kenwood. But that is just by the way. Okay, yeah. Which is it? Are you talking about the brownie, Vicky, or you're talking about the cupcake? Hopefully you can get the best out of it. What I try to do is leave you as much tips to help you navigate the journey of baking. So hopefully I can do that with you. Okay, I know Chantilly, Katian was here earlier. Kay, how are you? I couldn't stop to chat, but I hope you're around, and here's a hello to you. And to all of you still in the chat, even on the replay crew, and those of you who are just silently just watching all of this happen, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And whilst we're at it, if you still don't mind, do hit the like button to notify YouTube of your interest in this video, so you can equally put it in front of other people who might find this video very useful. And whilst we're at it, we're about to celebrate 5K. I know in YouTube numbers that's not a lot, but I can't imagine 5,000. You wouldn't invite 5,000 people to your wedding, would you? That is if you can't. Can you afford that though? You know, so that is just to say 5,000 is a lot. And I know behind every number is a person who has made a decision to come here to support me and to stay interacting with the channel. So I'm so grateful to have you. Let's go back to forming the meringue whilst I finish some chores over there in the corner. All right. So consider this a little bit of ASMR. Yeah. Right. Chantilly was asking about the brand of cupcakes. Look, I am busy, but I try to stay interacting with all of you. If at some point a question is not answered, trust and believe Delaney will clock that, and she'll catch up with me on the community page, and then we can update you on all the information. So if you have a question that remains unanswered, find us in the community post. Over there we stay interactive, and I try to respond as quickly as I can. There are also daily shorts, so it's not just the live videos. I think I started with edited long form content, which I hope to bring to you. So whilst you're here, let me just look. I come on here to serve you. Whilst I enjoy being here, it is not lost on me that I make a simple proposition to give you value, handing you specific, useful, simple information about all things baking. So trust and believe everything I do here is to bring you value and to serve you. Whilst we're at it, that's a long tangent away from the cupcake liners. Chantilly, if you want to know the cupcake liners, these are bought from my local Tesco's. If you're in the UK, you can find Tesco's. These are the Tesco brand. Let me see. Look, it's escaped me, but I know I have a pack of them. I mentioned the brand in my previous videos, which were the marathon sessions. But if you want, if you've missed that, I will check and I'll post the brand of cupcake cases I am using in the community post. So look out for that. But I tell you which ones are my preferred. Besides my Tesco ones, I like the Dr. Oetker brand of cupcake cases. They are sturdy, they don't peel, and when I haven't picked them up from my local Tesco, I order them from Amazon. Those are the Dr. Oetker ones. Besides the Dr. Oetker paper or tissue style liners, I don't particularly like any of those. In the past, like many years ago when I started, I must have said, or you would have heard me say here before, that I started my cake business as a cupcake business, right? And I used to make lots of cupcake, and it was the Aldi brand of cupcake liners. They were the muffin size, and the muffin size, they were a sort of a size between this regular size muffin and the jumbo size. So they were somewhere in between, a little larger than these ones, but not as big as the jumbo sized one. And I used to love them. And they came in packs of 50, and they were multicolored, and you can get them in brown. They were lovely and nice to use, but Aldi discontinued stocking them. So I had no option but to seek out other brands, and it took me a little while to get to the ones I am using. So I picked these up from my local Tesco, or I ordered the Dr. Oetker ones from Amazon. But the ones in my Tesco that I pick up from Tesco, the name has escaped me, but I'll leave that in my in the description box, or update some information about it in the community tab for you to check out. I hope that helps. But back to the tangent that I left wayside. Like I said, I come here to give you value about all things cake. So here's the thing. I started by trying to give you different aspects of videos that I could film. So I deviated a little to bring you some value from vlog style videos. But here's the thing, I'll tell you this a little bit about me. When I made this channel, I made it purposely for the intention that there is an aspect of baking on the platform that I can fill, because I enjoyed using resources from the YouTube platform long before I ended up creating my first content. In fact, I made my videos by using YouTube to teach me YouTube. So I have gotten a little bit out of the platform. And for that reason, I was very careful to make sure that everything I produced on the platform was also in terms of informing and to bring value to each one of you. And I really wasn't up for making it about me, okay? Like things about me and lifestyle. I was very unsure about that. But as time developed and I had like some baking related difficulties, as in how do you stay motivated in the journey when you have work to do, when you don't feel like you really want to wake up and bake 100 cupcakes in on a hot day. How do you get through that? So by trying to bring that perspective, I delved into some vlog style videos. But I think I still have some tension from the fact that there is a lot I can bring by focusing exclusively on cakes. And also because I'm a one-person production, having to make and film an edited video, I haven't been able to be consistent with producing content. And editing takes a long time, you know. So whilst I recognize that the live sessions are fairly easy to produce, I still want to go back to producing maybe a long form video once a week. But from your point of view, what videos would you like to see? Would you like to see more about tutorials? Would you like to see more about the behind the scenes? What would you like? Leave your comments in the description box, and then we can even continue that chat in the community post, and then it can inform what kind of videos that will bring you value so that I can get to producing them. I hope I have answered all of that. The light here is is blinding to my eyes, so if I'm looking a bit funny, it's because my eyes feel a little bit like sharp and hot. So bear with me. Let me wash my hands. There's someone in the chat who pays a compliment to me for being informative. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I hope the information is still useful though, because I could still be bringing you information and say informative about. Yes, right? That is just by the way. And Chantilly. Oh, Chantilly, you're in New York. Yeah, so you know what? I'll check the Amazon style ones and link some up in the community post for you. Okay, so keep an eye on that. But whilst we're at it, let's not forget we have meringues to make. And I'm actually thinking of coming back to make okay, we have our stiff picks here. Whilst we're at it, I am hoping to come back sometime so that we can have what do you call it, the marshmallow torch, marshmallow flavored Swiss meringue buttercream. I am hoping, right? So those of you who are beginner bakers in the chat at the moment, we're talking Chantilly P and Vicky. Vicky, what are your baking struggles at the moment? What if you wanted to undertake a bake, what would you be starting with, and what do you think are your challenges? Because if I know that, I can incorporate some of those into some of the live sessions so that I'll be answering questions by undertaking the tasks in real time to inform you. So consider these videos a sort of baking resource or like a baking class, because when I take cake tuitions or classes online, these are the information that I give. So I am bringing you that information here. So if you're having problems with if you're just a beginner baker, in the chat, just let me know what your trouble spots are, right? What are your challenges, so that if those can be solved, if those are task based, I'll come back and I will solve some of those right for you to see. Does that make sense? So for instance, if it's a sort of buttercream that you want to make, but you're unsure of, you've read about it, you're like, okay, I'd like to make Swiss meringue buttercream, but I've never made it before. What is it like? Well, the good thing is that I have Swiss meringue buttercream recipes on here. I have discussed the science of it, how to get the best out of it. And I haven't even made just one video. I think I've made a couple of videos. I can count about 3 videos, to the, including 10 tips that will help you get the best out of it. So at least we have Swiss meringue buttercream. We've tackled French buttercream intensely on this channel, and we've also tackled American buttercream, which was in our last week's video, which saw us make sloppy cakes, sloppy buttercream techniques, and a cake that literally fell over. That is just by the way. So let me know what your baking issues are, and then I can determine if I can answer some of your questions here whilst we're here today. I can do that. But if they are not things I can answer right here and now, then I'll consider coming back and then demonstrating it if it's task based. All right. So let's, whilst we're at it, okay, I think our meringue is sort of done, if you like. I do not want to break the meringue at all. There is our brownie batter that is baking. It's been going for 20-25 minutes. Let's see. Oh. The thing with brownie is you want to be careful not to overbake it, because then it will get dry and crusty. Okay, let's have a look. Right, we can give it another 10 minutes because it was supposed to be baking for 40, and it's baked all right. Yep, the sides have baked all right, but the middle part is a little bit jiggly. So I'm just going to leave that to bake for another, say, 10. Right. So can we talk about upgrading the box mix or a box recipe? The brownie was made from a box recipe. And I can tell you when I first picked it up, let me get the box to show you. Yeah, I did say I wasn't sure about the name. Here's the box. I bought it from my local Costco when I went shopping. I just wanted to try it because I'd seen a lot of information online about using box mixes that are great. And I've said time and again, most of my bakes are baked from scratch, and I'm okay with that. I'm not against box mixes. I'm sure if you get a good quality box mix, you can derive some great textured bakes with nice flavor. And the variety that box mixes will derive you can be sometimes limiting from scratch recipes. So it's neither here nor there. And just because I'm also here to inform you, I am happy to pick different things just to try them for you. And I remember when I first picked this up and I baked my first box mix, I didn't like it. It was slightly bitter, it lacked flavor, so I just didn't enjoy it. So I left the box on the side. I thought, what a mistake that was. But then again, in recent times, I thought, let me try again. So I went online and I sought information, and my research informed me you can replace certain ingredients with different things and the quantity slightly to get the best result out of it. And I say that to say, when I brought the cake up and you saw me pick a piece of it, the Oreo pieces that I threw amongst the chocolate butter has led to a very nice flavor of the brownie. So we'll give it about 10 minutes and then we'll take it out, and then hopefully we'll let it set. Naturally, what we should do is leave the brownie and the cookie to set, as in the cracker base to set completely by cooling it, after which we can put the meringue on it and then torch it. But let's see what we can get away with on this session, because normally for these live sessions my goal is to bring you along the journey so that you were a part of it from the start to finish. So like the cupcakes, we started and you saw it finish. And actually, having said that, I haven't actually baked a cupcake and left it to cool here for you to see, because when you see a cupcake that is freshly baked, the texture and crumb is slightly different from when it finishes, but I can almost feel the softness and tender crumb that we started with, which is great. So that has seen you observe from the start, witnessing the techniques I have employed to the cupcakes that are finished now. So in the same vein, I am happy to let you be a part of the brownie mix if you like. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, we have 44 minutes because what I don't want to do is overbake it. Let's see. Because some say if the middle comes out too, yeah, the middle is just a little bit too jiggly for me. It's a little bit too wet, so I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this over. It is actually a great tasting brownie, even now, like picking the pieces. Right, so let's try something a little different. I mean, we just want to torch parts of the Swiss meringue here and then give it some marshmallow, burnt, a toasted flavor. So it's like toasted meringue. So let's try that. That's because I just want to use my I just want to use my torch here. So we are having a toasted oh, okay, it is working. Okay, I can feel toasty here. This looks lovely. Okay. I must say I've seen this online, but I've never tried it before. This is my first time. I like the toast. I do actually like the toastiness of it. It leaves little pieces in there, but I love it. I love it. Okay, now let's get this bowl out. I didn't toast it enough to say that it will make a difference here right now, but the part that I picked to try had a toasty bit in it. So look at me. I see why the Smores thing is the thing, because the meringue is so light, it disappears, and then the toast in it gives it a little bit of flavor, because you have the caramel burns of the sugar, and then the burnt toast around the white bits. It is a nice flavor, so I'm kind of looking forward to this thing. But I like my brownie warm though. Is it just me? Is there anyone out there who likes a warm brownie? Like with ice cream or something? So having this by itself without ice cream will be like with ice cream will be like an overkill, but without the ice cream will be like a minus for me. But that is specifically on preference. That's what I prefer. I am just excited about my new gadget. Have you noticed? Okay, let's have a look at our okay. I think I can live with this. Let's see. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, that's fair. I've got it. Yeah, got it right. So we've got the right consistency. Oh gosh. Okay. Right. So okay. I'm thinking out loud how I'm going to have to do this properly. Because for this, I should have used a tin with the base that I can just pop out. But I haven't done that. So it means I'm going to have to flip this first and then flip it back. Bear with me. So let's see how I can work this out. That is if I can flip it without any problems. Right. Because if we don't flip this right, the cookie base will crumble. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Right. This is good. Right. So if you're watching this, we have a small brownie here, middle here, and then there is the cracker base. This is cookies, like digestive biscuits base. And then, so just so that I can be able to get this right, I'm gonna, okay. Oh, I have flipped it back. Right. Okay. All right, so we've got it. That was a little tricky, wasn't it? It was really scary. So for the, if you don't know what a S'mores brownie is, we have the brownie here, we have the cookie or cracker base over here mixed with butter. It's baked nicely. Now we're going to smother the top up with meringue. But before we do that, let me just wipe this surface quickly, and then we can move on to finishing our brownie. That is our, oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and spread some meringue here. Right. I don't want to overwhelm it with too much meringue. Right. So let's see. Okay. Okay. Let's see what will. Okay. Right. Who has tried a S'mores brownie before? Right. If you're in the chat and you've tried this before, let us know. I have never eaten this before, so I'm excited to try it. Okay, there you go. So let's see. Okay, right. I almost feel as though this is kind of a new experience for me. Right. Okay. Right. Who is excited to get into this brownie? Right. Okay. That looks cool. All right. I'm excited. All right. So I am going to up the ante by having a little bit of condensed milk in the meringue. Yeah, just in the meringue here, so that when you bite into it, you can get some different taste and complex and enhanced flavors in there. Right. So moment of truth. Can we start torching it? Let's see. Oh, okay. I like this. Okay. I want to be careful though, so that I don't set my home fire alarm off. Okay. Oh, wow. I like this. What do you think? Who is in the chat there with me? Chantilly or Delaney? Who is in there with me? Oh, this is lovely. I like this. Who is here with me? I like the therapeutic nature of using the um torch. Wow, this is good. I love. Who has been this excited about using a torch? Wow, I like this. Right. Oh wow, I like this. Who is in the chat there? Okay, my thing is finished now. Okay. No, no, it's really not that. You know what? I had a canister where you put a top on it. That was scary because I was like, oh, if that goes off, no, I'm not trying that. But this has safety bits on it. So if you're worried about a blowtorch, look, I'm more worried about it than you think. But I've been able to use it. You can too. So, moment of truth. At the start of this life, we wanted to bake some lightly textured, simple vanilla cupcakes, which we have completed. And I said we were going to make some Smores brownies. And we've got it done. So, moment of truth. Shall we taste what this tastes like? Okay, let me get myself a knife and let's dig into this and see. Knife, where are you? Okay. All right, let's get. Okay. Here is a knife. Here is a plate. And all I need to do is cut into this and get myself. Oh my God. Can you see how? Look at that layer. We have a lovely cookie layer on the base. We have a moist brownie here. And on top of that is this toasted meringue piece here. Okay, let me go for it a bit more. Well, I need to refill this, but gosh, I have the best job. Okay, let me get myself a fork. Okay. All right. Who is excited? Okay, let's see. Mind you, this is hot. Chantilly. Okay, there is nothing I want more. Whew. Did you see my face and the quietness? There was a lot of talk in that silence. It is. This is my first time of trying a s'mores brownie, and the brownie layer, the brownie crust there is light. There is flavor in it, but it's equally light in a way that I can't describe. And then the biscuits, because I used digestive, it adds because when I baked it, There is a caramelized burn to it that gives you a complex taste and mouth feel. The meringue disappears with the entire lot, so you can't feel the meringue except for its smooth feel, something that touches your mouth. You know, this is sweet, it's not too sweet. And because I put some condensed milk on the meringue, it kind of raises the sweetness. It's good, really, really good. There is nothing I want more than to share this with you, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to eat it on y'all's behalf, okay? But this is a recipe I recommend. I am so sorry. If you've got IMV for me right now.